everybody, welcome to McFarland Minutes, our weekly podcast hosted by Natalie McFarland, me, and founder and president of McFarland Productions, and Scout Foster, our outreach marketing manager. In these episodes, you can expect deleted scenes, in-depth campaign reviews, project highlights, marketing concepts, book reviews, and a deep dive into the creative process at Off Your Rocker Films, and of course, invaluable lessons on mentorship, leadership, and the business of it all. We are so excited to be releasing our episodes every Sunday as your soft launch to Monday. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 17 of McFarland Minutes, your soft launch to Monday. This week, we want to talk about a topic that is kind of an interesting one. I feel like there are kind of two sides of the fence on this. There is the, hey, I want data people, right? They want numbers. And then there's the people that want to see community engagement, right? And maybe that's non-measurable engagement. So I'm not talking about stats on social media. I'm talking about people who become fans, right? Much more difficult to measure.
Did it feel good?
Yeah, did it feel good?
Yeah.
That's great. Anyway, so the topic that we're going over is how to measure the effectiveness of a marketing campaign. Scout, this is a tough one. What do you think?
Okay, so I think when you break it down, you're going to want to look at your stats, like your analytics. But before you do that, I think when you launch the campaign, you have to know what you're trying to achieve. Like, are we hitting revenue goals? Are we hitting, I don't know, like downloads? Like, what's the
Are we
number
hitting
that we're
click-through
looking
rates?
for?
Are we hitting whatever the
Right.
thing is?
Opens or likes. Please don't chase likes, but like, what are we, you know what I mean? Like, what are we looking for engagement? Are we looking for reach? Like, you have to know that before you pull your analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to know when you pull your analytics and you look at it, you're like, okay, this was a win. You know it's a win because you already set those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I think it's
I
like
am not
a
a numbers person.
quantitative and a qualitative goal,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes.
I need kind of both no matter what the goal is of the campaign, whether it's brand recognition, whether it's specific sales of a specific item,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's whatever it is. I need a qualitative and a quantitative because I think we said this in a previous episode. I don't remember what episode it was, but basically, like, even if you serve an ad, a paid ad on social media to the same person multiple times, right? Maybe they saw it, maybe they did impact it, they did remember it, but maybe they didn't click it the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the second time, or the third
Or
time they
ever.
saw it, right? But, later that year, they were like, man, I have this special occasion coming up. I remember that jacket that I really liked from
Mm-hmm.
whoever, Schaefer Outfitter, whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go see if they still have it in stock. And they go to schaeferoutfitter.com directly through their browser. Well, did that ad convert that sale?
But also, like, something we see a lot in email marketing is we never have no link clicks or like no order conversions. Like, there's always something there, but like sometimes I'm like, wow, this is like pretty low compared to some of our other metrics. Well, then all you have to do is like search the order name or email with the subscriber name or email, and there you go. There's like 12, right? 12, 15,
Sure.
however many.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like an actual,
Yeah.
report, just for number example purposes. Well, yeah, they saw your email. It reminded them about it. You got the order, but they went later, not from your email,
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's the same with a lot of paid ad things. Like, sometimes you see the ad and you're just clicking through, you're scrolling, and you're like, okay, note to self, later tonight, I don't know,
Or months
when I'm
from
not in
now
the
sometimes.
shower, when I'm not driving, I don't know, like when I'm
Please don't scroll
free
ads
to
and
buy.
drive.
Oh my God, the amount of people I see texting and driving is insane, or on their phone and driving. I'm like, that stuff is hard to measure.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we like, and okay, so we know what happened, so we can go and look for those discrepancies, and we can allot like a barrier, like a buffer of like, we know this campaign was successful. The numbers are lower than we maybe anticipated, but like, here's an example of 3 people, and there's more like them that are targeted in our ads, are in our, our followers of our social, our subscribers in our email list, like who bought on that day or the day after that, or it could be for 6 months from now, like the timing of the purchase sometimes is not
Mm-hmm. Great example
relevant,
from this morning is, we were talking about the Wild Rag campaign for the Heritage Wild
Mm-hmm.
Rags for Schaefer Outfitter
Mm-hmm.
and some of the other wild rags that we have that are truly art pieces, right? They're gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And there's artists that did an incredible job behind each one of those 4 locations. And you were saying, I kind of want to frame them, I kind of want to put them up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know what I saw the other day? And I brought up Fringe Scarves, who
Mm-hmm.
just released a magnetic like wild rag hanger. It's super cool, right? So like it magnets the top and magnets the bottom, so it's weighted and stretched, right? But it doesn't damage the wild rag, and it's just like on a wire frame basically. And so you just
Mm-hmm.
hang the wire up, so you can still wear the rag. It can still be a piece of wall art, but it doesn't damage the rag in any way, or put it behind glass where you can't get to it, right? So now I'm never going to wear it
Right.
again, pretty much, right? So like you mentioned you wanted to hang it up. I mentioned I saw
Mm-hmm.
it. It was in a reel this time, but let's say I had seen it in an ad instead, right? I said, "Hey, I actually just saw a really cool solution for that." You then end up buying from Fringe Scarves these cool
Right.
wall hanging wild rag frames. That's not a click. That's not a measurable click through at
Mm-hmm.
all.
But it
So
worked.
it still worked. So
It
like
was
in that case, it was
successful.
a reel. It was not an ad. But either way, like
Okay, but still organic social.
right.
There's a spot for organic social in your campaign.
Right. Right. So measuring ROI on that reel that, Fringe Scarves posted, your view is
Mhm.
not on that reel, but mine is.
Mhm. But you sold it to me.
But your purchase was from
Yeah.
my view, right? So you
Right.
cannot directly count like direct
Every.
not every single thing can be quantitative because it will absolutely jump outside by accident for sure.
Yeah. Well, also this is completely like a self-reflection. Something I've learned about myself is the numbers stick with you for like the day,
Mhm.
right? Like you're like, cool, like we're up 73% year over year or whatever. And you're like, heck yeah, like that's really awesome. But like
Mhm.
the impact sticks with you for many days. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there are still things that I did when I was an intern that numbers wise it flopped. But
Mhm.
like impact wise it meant something and it did do something on impact. And like it mattered to me and it made me feel good. Again,
Mhm.
cool. It was like a tribute to that community or a tribute to I don't know, like the people, the why, which we talk about a lot. Numbers wise, not a win. But impact wise, I think that it was a win. Like there are some things that you cannot just look at with a numbers lens on. And I actually think I'm very sensitive to that. Like I am a person who I want to know that there's purpose in what I'm doing. I want to feel like I'm doing something for the greater good. I don't necessarily care. Like I'm not money motivated. Like I'm just not. Like I know that about myself. Like I'm like purpose and passion and like impact driven. So I this could be more of like a personal thing, but I know there are more marketers out there like that and I feel like you are one of them. Like I know that you like to love what you do.
Mhm.
You
I
know what I mean?
want it to bring
And
in the
sometimes
numbers, right? But I
right.
wholeheartedly believe that if you create a relationship with someone, that sale might
Mhm.
not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not be next month, but it could be the month following. It could be every Christmas between now and eternity,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Okay. Go ahead.
I
I'm
was
sorry to
just
cut you
gonna
off.
say, like, basically, like, creating to me, you cannot only rely on the quantitative data. you also have to consider what the qualitative data is, because that is
Mhm.
building community. You cannot
Also,
put a
trust your gut.
number on building
Yeah.
relationships.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I think something else from today is when we were talking with Matt from Mustang Champions for
Mhm.
a podcast episode. I'm not sure in relation to this one. Um, I don't know if this comes out first or if that one will come out first, but
I think
um,
it's actually the last episode. So we're in episode
oh,
17.
perfect.
We're recording these a little bit out of order. But this is going to be episode 17. Matt is in episode 16 with Mustang Champions.
Like so I don't know a whole lot about Mustangs. It's not like my area of expertise, but he loves them
Mhm.
so much. When he was talking, he literally had tears in his eyes. Like you can feel the love, you can feel the passion, you can feel that he knows that he's making an impact. And now I'm like, Lane, should we get a Mustang? Like, should we get one?
Yeah.
Should we adopt one? And it might not be this year.
Mhm.
But like, do I think at one time in my life will I have one? I think that I will.
Yeah.
Just because of this podcast episode where I made a connection with Matt from Mustang Champions and he believes in it so much and like there's purpose behind his project with them that I am on board. I'm like, you
Mhm.
did a great job talking about it and showing me um like telling me the story. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Right.
'Cause I'm like, dang,
Let's
man.
take another one, right? Like, we did an episode with Floribama. I feel like I referenced this one
Mhm.
a lot. I am
Mhm.
so impressed with Steve and the whole team at Floribama. I'm just
Mhm.
beyond impressed from having worked, in the facility for 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And like the reality is that we're talking about going back with some of our friends. We're talking about going back with our
Mhm.
team, right? Can they like, I don't think all of our friends who are considering going follow Floribama on social media, right?
Right.
So there's the quantitative number, right? That maybe is getting missed, knowing that they are going to end up there regardless of being a follower, ever have gone to the website, ever have interacted with email marketing, anything. They may never interact in a quantitative way until we arrive.
Mhm. Right.
So, like,
Right.
the reality is that, like, if you build community, if you make people
Mhm.
true believers, if you give people conviction like Mustang Champions, right? If they then feel your passion for the thing, or your passion for the community around it, or the community that the item serves, right? You could very likely suck somebody in because they want to believe like you believe. Right? They want that level of
Well,
passion, but they may not be a quantitative number. That's not to say
I think that's
quantitative's
where
incredibly important. I do want ROI. Stuff still
mhm.
has to come off the shelf, right? But you can't forget that qualitative goal.
Yeah, I think that's why influencers are having such a moment. Because like they get in there and they tell that brand story. They have a large reach though, so really like statistically speaking, then the what am I trying to say? Like
The
the
quantitative number is there.
yeah, like the likelihood of someone buying from that like reel or post or something they did
ROI is
or
pretty
telling
high.
that story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me there. I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I trying to
Yeah,
say?
I mean, the reality is that all of those numbers and statistics are incredibly important, right? There's no way to
Mhm.
measure whether or not your marketing is working without within completely ignoring statistics. You have to,
Mhm.
right? Otherwise, like, are you selling anything? I don't I don't know, right? I am not
Right.
against doing analytics. I am not against any of that, but I do think that there has to be a percentage reserved.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also I think Um, analytically, if you are tracking what you should be tracking, you can see what did well numbers wise. And also, a lot of times that does well
It
impact wise
should
too.
correlate. Yeah, should
Yeah.
correlate.
Yeah. So, I don't know, you could do more impact with less maybe
Mhm.
too if it does well
Mhm.
analytically.
I forget who it
like
was
sad
that
funny.
made this post, but there was another marketer who did a post, and it was talking about a post that had gone up for one of their clients. I don't know who it was, that only ended up with like a dozen likes on it. Not very much, right? Smaller
Mhm.
company, but a dozen likes really isn't that big of a purchase, or that big of a impact from like a quantitative perspective.
Mhm.
One of those 12 likes ended up converting to a purchase that quantified, right, to like $2.6 million for that company.
What?
So
How's that
even though
possible?
that post only had 12 likes on it, right? So we're not likes chasing here, right? Where their
Mhm.
other posts maybe get, I don't know, a couple hundred or something, right? So a
Mhm.
post that quantitatively flopped still got $2.6 million into that company, right?
Yep.
So anyway, it's pretty interesting to me that like chasing the numbers, yes, theoretically they will correlate. Like you're very likely to be correct that big numbers from a interaction engagement standpoint, whatever, will likely correlate to a higher ROI, right? To a
Mhm.
higher rate of purchase or click-through rate or any of that, right? Of course it will,
Mhm.
because you're throwing a bigger net. But don't count those little guys out, because sometimes the ones that flopped didn't flop.
Right. I think that's something also to be said, like, sometimes on the front end, maybe it did.
Mhm.
But, like, the back end, like, what you can see when you're, like, manager or you're in the business or something like that, like, it's a win. So sometimes it is funny to me, like, as a marketer looking at other social accounts, there I don't want to, like, really only say, like, social because there are so many different aspects to a campaign, but
Mm.
social is very like forward facing. Like I can see a lot of I can see how
I
many
can see other
likes you have.
people's
I can see
data.
the shares. Yes. Emails, I can't see that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
your paid ads, I can't really see that. I can speculate based on like the likes and the comments you have, but like I don't know how many buys there are. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I don't know how many like clicks you have. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just keep bringing social up because you can see other people's
Right.
stuff, like you said. Yeah, we're
There are two sides to every campaign. There's quantitative and qualitative. I think that you have to look at what kind of campaign it is to know, like, how much weight do I put on quantitative? How much
mhm,
weight do I put on qualitative? Ads are probably more quantitative than they are qualitative, right? But not necessarily entirely, right? I don't think you can say
mhm.
100%. I think if you do PR stunts, like recently Elf Beauty or Elf Cosmetics, I don't remember their exact company name. I think it's Elf Cosmetics, did that airdrop in a out of a Cessna to the guy that was sailing from Oregon to Hawaii, right? That's going to be
What?
qualitative. Yeah. Oh yeah, you should look
I
this
didn't
up.
know that.
Yeah. So
Okay, I know
they
about the guy flying from Oregon to Hawaii. I didn't know about Elf though.
Yeah, so Elf hired a pilot and I presumably a passenger, I hope a passenger, to fly from Hawaii out over the sailboat and drop a care package to him, right? And it was like sunscreen and lotion and chapstick and like stuff that like a person sailing could use, right?
Mhm.
And then they flew back. He was about maybe 2 days sailing time from where he was to Hawaii, but the flight was only like a 2-hour deal. Like, he wasn't that far from, like, a flight perspective, even
Mhm.
in a Cessna, right? You certainly don't wanna fly too far out over the ocean in a little bitty Cessna 172. But presumably, they had to have a flight plan and all kinds of things, but so they fly out of the over the ocean and they drop an elf package of, all these elf provided cosmetic items to him, and they didn't like make it to the boat, so he had to like struggle his way to like navigate. He was close, right? But the sailboat's not real navigable, right? So he had to like struggle to get over there, but he does get it, right? He retrieves the package and he opens it, and presumably this was likely an agreement between Elf and him, ahead of time. I would assume, right, that they would have contacted him so he wasn't like, why are people throwing things at me? Um, but like
I hope so.
what a good play, right? But how much quantitative can you get out of that? I don't think you can, right? You're
I
gonna
don't
get
know though.
some.
I don't know if it's trackable
Yeah,
unless they
I
gave
don't
me a
know how
link and a code and
accurately
stuff.
trackable it would be.
Right. But the numbers of I don't even what is this? What is the guy's name? I see it all over TikTok. Sailing with
Is his name Brian? I think his name's
I don't
Brian.
know.
Kevin would know off the
Okay,
top of
well,
his head because Kevin like was invested in this journey. He's since made it to Hawaii. The governor welcomed him. They did a whole like grand welcoming there. And
could
anyway,
you freaking imagine sailing? I don't even want to fly. I mean, I do want to fly to Hawaii if anybody wants to take me on a trip there, but I don't like to fly. Like I don't even want to fly to Hawaii, let alone in a sailboat.
right, right.
Mm-mm. No,
It's
and
like
anyways, it's off
what
topic. But like,
the whole like sailing to Hawaii thing was such a cool thing, and then for Elf to find a way to
to
participate,
jump in,
like
I think that this has like a lot of quanti quantitative
qualitative.
possibility
Which one? Numbers or not? We've
numbers.
said this too many times. Quantitative.
I know, I'm getting confused. I feel like this has good numbers potential because of the amount of people following his journey from Oregon to Hawaii on a sailboat, which is wild. But I agree with you. Like I don't know how trackable it would be unless they gave him like a UTM or a code, or maybe they have like honestly like maybe they have a landing page with those products so
Maybe.
separately pulled over. You know what I
That
mean?
would be
Like
cool.
you can kind of track,
hmm
sailing with
I think like to an extent
Brian or
though,
whatever.
right? Like if I don't go to the landing page, but like, the next time I need moisturizer,
Right.
right? I go to Elf Beauty, like because I remember they did that, right? That's
Mhm.
something. I think that Red Bull does that a lot
Mhm.
with their especially extreme sport campaigns, right? Like they're very much dependent
Mhm.
on this like community impact sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but that all being said, now that we have really talked about how much quantitative data is important because it's wildly important. And you cannot forget that as a marketer, as a CMO,
Yeah.
as a CFO, as a CEO, as a board member, you have to remember that there is an unmeasurable qualitative factor to marketing because we are
Well,
out
it gives
building communities. We are not doing
Mhm.
sales. That's a very
Mhm.
different thing.
Thank you
Um,
for saying that because I think that is something that like we know and we believe and we use that belief in how we measure like successful campaigns. Like we're building community, not we're not sales. We're not the sales department. We're the marketing department. We're creating for anyone wondering why I was doing that, there was a bug. Okay. I realized that probably looked really funny because you couldn't see the bug. Um
anyway, like it's
right.
critically
Thank you for that.
important
Thank you for
is
saying that.
as you like send it up the food chain, right? Of like how did this
Yes.
campaign do? It can easily get lost in translation that like
Right.
we made an impact beyond these numbers, right? That
Yeah.
I can't really answer the question of how did it do, right? I kind of can,
What?
but I can't fully answer that question.
Yeah. But with that being said, like we don't want to see red,
No, definitely not.
like but not in our report.
If
So
it's seeing
if you
red,
see
it
red, that
probably isn't going well.
it didn't work. Okay. Like we need
Yeah.
to pivot. Um, and that's okay. Like sometimes you have to do
So,
that.
okay,
The
so let's
number
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, the numbers give you a leg to stand on, and they really help you in your strategy.
Yeah.
That being said, the numbers aren't everything, and I feel like we've like beat that to death in this podcast. But like, we do need to get back to like the numbers because it gives you a leg to stand on, and it helps you like strategize your entire
Yeah, for
marketing
sure. It also
plan
gives you a
and
lot
your
of valuable
campaigns and stuff.
data to know like what direction should I be going, right? Like
Right.
it does give you a lot of wins. So what tools are we using from an analytics
Mhm.
perspective across all
Mhm.
platforms? Like
Mhm.
what tools are your favorite, Scout? And then I'll talk about some of mine.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think in socials, I like to pull directly from Instagram and Facebook. The most direct you can get, I think, the better. Like
Hmm.
less of a there's less like me, you know what I'm saying?
There's less
Like
loss. Data loss somehow
yes.
happens or inaccuracies.
Yes. So for socials, I like to pull or at least cruise through like Instagram, Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on TikTok, whatever social platform you're on and you want to pull analytics for, pull from that specific platform. Um, Something I also want to say is it is going to be different in every place that you look. So if you use a scheduler, your scheduler is going to be different than Instagram, and your Instagram like in app is going to be different than what your Meta Business Suite tells you your Instagram is. So when you're reporting on like when you're actually like writing physical reports about it, pick one and be consistent on it. Something I do like about Meta Business Suite is you can flip flop back and forth real easy for Facebook and Instagram. So that is one I do like. But again, like it is very important to be directly in those platforms. For email marketing, again, same thing, directly in that email marketing software, which we use Drip. We've talked about it. You guys know I love it. I think if you've listened to that episode, if it comes out before this one, if it comes out after, you
It's
will know that I
after.
love it. Okay, cool. Well, I love it, and you will know that in a couple episodes. Um,
That's a preview of episode 23, Marketing Software
yeah,
Goldmine.
nice. Glad it wasn't a secret. um, Something else for emails is emails are also hard to track because you'll open the email, you'll be like, great idea, I do want that, I'll order it with that code or whatever, maybe no code. And then you go to the website directly though, and then that tracks its direct traffic, not as email traffic in your email software. So it's a bit, I want to say convoluted. Is that the right word for that? It's a
Hmm.
bit um, mushy. So love Drip, love obviously social platforms. Something that is really nice is, yeah, I think you're going to talk about this, but Google Sitekit, and this can
Hmm.
be like your, in on that. But I use that a lot for blog traffic, but also you can check like social traffic. You can check referral,
Hmm.
direct, whatever the other ones are. I'm going to let you talk about that, but I do use that for like to you like put it all together. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like make sure you have a well-rounded view of your numbers.
Yeah. So Sitekit, and we use SEMrush and stuff like that too, also for like the SEO related stuff. And we talk about that in our SEO episode, which also has not come out yet. That
Oh my
is
God, we're
episode.
just leaking so much
We
stuff.
are. We're just leaking it all. I think it is 23. Nope. I don't remember. It's in the future. In our crystal ball future. Oh, 19. I see it. Episode 19 will be about SEO, and we'll talk a lot about SEMrush and why that's important. But Sitekit, what's kind of cool about it is like Google Analytics is kind of overwhelming. Google Search Console is kind of overwhelming. Google Ads Manager is kind of overwhelming in and of themselves if you're trying to like aggregate a lot of this data. The cool thing about Sitekit is it basically takes all of those and it like aggregates it into like a very neat little package. If you want to drill down, and that's I think that's a specific plugin specifically for WordPress sites. Don't quote me on that. We use it on every single one of our WordPress sites, so you may be able to use it other places too, but for sure WordPress sites. Um, it's a plugin that you can upload. Make sure that you double check that it doesn't have any conflicts with any other plugins before you just go Wild West on her. So maybe consult your developer if you're a WordPress user before you go ahead and just flop that thing on there. But Sitekit will give you like an overview. If you want to drill in further, Google Analytics, I am a Google Analytics nerd. Search Console is good too. I just don't use it as much. I really, really like analytics, Google Analytics. So the cool thing is you can see like what your top performing like pages are based on traffic, like how
Mm-hmm.
they're arriving at you. So in the SEO episode, we'll talk a lot about like driving traffic, utilizing content on your website. SiteKit slash analytics slash search console can kind of help you see what's performing and like why and where it's coming from and like at what frequency. So like those are for sure like three platforms, but a culminated one in SiteKit that
Mm-hmm.
is so important. SEMrush is really good. Use the heck out of SEMrush, particularly the free version. We love free versions of things, but
I like
the
that you
paid
call it
version's
SEMrush and
really
I
good.
call it SEMrush.
Yeah, is it SEMrush? Is it
I
SEMrush?
ha
Maybe
I
let
don't
us
know.
know.
I've heard both, but like when I was an intern, they were calling it SEMrush, and
I
that's just what
mean,
I know it to
it
be,
would
and that's
make
what I will go with.
sense that it's SEMrush because it's talking about
SEO and like
SEO,
SEM.
SEM. That makes sense to me. Why is that? I've just gotten in a habit. Anyway, maybe
I don't think
SEMrush
it's
can
wrong.
tell
I just
us,
think
you
it's
know?
funny that we both say it differently, but I don't know, we just say it differently, and it's fine. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, for
Ha
sure.
ha. Funny ha ha, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, that's a really good tool. Um, I think we utilize again, like just in the software that whatever the thing is that you're doing, like if it's email marketing,
Mhm.
social media, websites, whatever it is, connect it or like look at the analytics as directly as possible.
Something else I love is, oh, we should have put this in our software deal. I love LinkTree.
Oh, that would have been a great one. Shoot. Okay, well
You
let's
have to
do a little
re-record.
preview segment for we're just going to do a pre-ad, right? I think episode 23 is us talking about marketing software. One we left out is LinkedIn or
Is
LinkedIn is a
LinkTree.
Linktree. Link
It
something.
that does get a little tricky sometimes, yeah. LinkTree is also good because you can send people from your socials. I also use it for email sometimes just as like a double checker. So, my button in my email marketing is a Linktree link most of the time. Sometimes it's not, but most of the time I try to do it like that so then I can track both.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same thing. Just I want to compare Drip's number to Linktree's number. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. So I'm not actually following there.
Probably depends on if somebody brings up the Linktree through social and still clicks the button. You think?
No, you can no. I
You're
get where
doing
you're
like a
going with that.
hidden link?
You can do where it goes through Linktree, but it doesn't take you to Linktree. It takes you
Ah,
to that link.
gotcha. Okay, got it.
All in the. Um, so most of the time they are different. Like I've only run into a few times where I'm like, why did it count in Linktree, but it didn't count in Drip, or why is the number higher in Drip, and whatever. But that's like also a good. I like doing that because then I like there's some. I have some comparison numbers or compare
Mm-hmm.
numbers to compare, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Gives you
remember my
kind
point
of a
with that, but I
backup,
love Linktree.
basically.
Okay, yes, my point with that is that Linktree is great for socials, but like you can use it elsewhere. I primarily only use it for um this is I'm getting so smart with this, I think. The day I thought of this, I was like, pat yourself on the back. You know that sound?
Mm-hmm.
Um any anyways, Linktree. I do it in email marketing. I use it for social, but I also use it as a out. Um, what do you call it? You have like you're in. What do you call it when it? I don't know. I really don't know the term here, so I'm gonna need your help here. In SEO, you want to have internal links, and then like it might be internal link and external link.
You're right.
We're gonna call it that for the sake of this um, podcast. But so your internal links are really easy to gather because obviously you just pull like from other blogs, or you can pull in your products, or you can pull in like your about page or something. But the external links can sometimes be kind of hard to find because sometimes you don't want to promote other people's stuff, like if you're talking about if you're posting a recipe and you're talking about beef, you want to link to your beef. You don't want to link to like other people's beef. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, you can link to like the pots and pans that you use or like the grill that you use or something like that. But LinkTree, you can link to your own stuff, but it's an external link. Did you know that? Did
I
you ever
didn't
think of
think
that?
about that either. That's a great
But
point.
you link to your own stuff. So it's building your SEO. That's a pro tip.
I didn't think about that. That's pretty slick.
I know. I'm
That's
like, oh my God, I'm
pretty
freaking
slick.
genius. Okay. To be fair though, the external link is a factor because you'll populate in those searches. So, really, I don't know how much it's doing for you. You know what I mean? Other than like checking off that
Yeah,
box.
it's
You know
like
what I'm saying?
receiving an external link click through.
But it's not.
Maybe. Maybe.
But I kind of am happy, like, to figure it, like, it solves like the needing an external link thing, which I understand. Like, our SEO experts, if we have any listening, are probably going to be like, you think you're so slick, but you're actually not, you know? But I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It
Maybe,
does
I don't know. Maybe it
fulfill
works.
like
Maybe it
one
doesn't.
more Yoast requirement,
Right.
you know?
Right. So
I
I
like
don't
green
know.
lights.
Am I like falsely turning the light green? Maybe. But I mean, it's still green though. But like,
Yeah. I think it probably doesn't have the same value as like, a completely different company linking back to you.
right,
Like it probably
right.
doesn't. But
But I
it
wonder if it
does,
does.
it should help.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Like possibly it has like it. If all else fails, it has like the same value as an internal link.
Mhm.
But it is an external link.
Mhm. For sure.
I don't know if it. I don't know if it works how like I feel like it might work, but I'm testing it.
But to
Maybe
keep
those
us
do
back
really
on
well.
track so we don't get too
Yeah, thank you
off
for that.
topic on SEO and software here, but because those are future episodes, but the point of using Linktree is that you're able to pull data from all of that, right?
Yeah,
Where like if you
yeah.
just have a link in your bio or a link to the landing page that then has buttons or something like that, you certainly can still measure all of that, but it doesn't give you as broken down data as what Linktree is giving you.
This is also so much quicker to pull,
Oh, yes. Way quicker to
you
pull.
know? Like,
Way
it's just
quicker to
so
pull on a
efficient.
very specific level. Yeah.
Mhm. And it's only like a couple bucks a month, so it's really worth it.
Yeah, it is. Um, yeah. There's other ones too. I just thought of like two more that we should have been talking about. QR code generator is a great one too.
Oh, dang it. We'll
I
have to do a
know.
part 2.
I know. We're gonna have to do a part two
We'll
on the
do a part
software one.
2.
If you're more interested in software related chat, that is episode 23. So that's out the 24th of August. And then we
Once
talk
it comes out, we'll link it in these show
Yeah,
notes.
we'll drop it back down in these show notes.
Yeah.
And then episode 19 is SEO. That comes out in 2 weeks. So on the 27th of July. So that one is just a little bit later in the episode that you're watching now. But we can link maybe both of those as they come out to this episode
Yeah.
in case you're
Yep.
watching it not the day it comes out, which I hope you're watching it the day it comes out. But
I just hope you're watching it,
right, just
you know?
watch it. Or at least, watching our snippets on social or something. But anyway, I think like from an analytics perspective, from measuring campaign effectiveness, really what we're saying is quantitative, duh. Right? Obviously, we all need quantitative data, but don't forget that there is a very significant percentage of potential impact from the qualitative side that doesn't show up in a spreadsheet. So
Yeah.
keeping that in mind. But Scout, anything left to add to effective campaigns?
I don't think so. I think it's just important to remember that the your campaigns will vary, so the way that you measure success in those campaigns vary. Like, remember the point of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Not all campaigns are sales related.
Mm-hmm. Be
Some are brand
clear about
awareness.
the goal in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, be
And set
clear about the
yourself
goal.
up for success for how set yourself up for how you're going to measure success successfully. You know what I mean?
I love that sentence.
Yeah. Thank you. I knew you would.
Cool. Well,
That's it.
that's it, I think, on how to measure the effectiveness of your campaign. The number of times I feel like I've said
Mhm.
quantitative, qualitative, and effectiveness in this
It's a
episode.
lot.
Someone can make a drinking game out of that. Maybe drink coffee because it's Sunday and it's your soft lunch to Monday.
Gotta make it to
But
work.
this has been episode 17 of the measuring the effectiveness of your marketing campaigns on McFarland Minutes. We'll see you next week.